the first part of today's annual Extractives Baraza is really dedicated to the young people. And the idea is, let us create platforms where they can build their skills, showcase their skills. This is also networking. I can't tell you how many requests we get on a monthly basis about, do you have an intern? Can you send me interns? This is where, ladies and gentlemen, you'll get your interns. Because these young people have prepared intensely and have made it to the finale. And for that, we are absolutely thankful and grateful.
Basically, as Extractives Baraza, we are started as an institution that try to create credible information in order to enable citizen participation and engagement in the governance of extractive sector in Kenya. In this regard, Extractives Baraza basically focuses on non-renewable natural resources. Not renewable, but non-renewable natural resources. And therefore, our aim was to engage citizens in terms of policy dialogue and also engagement with regard to governance issues around extractive sector. Our mission generally has been to provide high-quality research information to the citizens in a dynamic and knowledge that allows research, content generation, training, and partnership. That is what we have been working on. And basically, as a steering committee for the Extractives Baraza, our main task has been to oversee and also provide guidance in terms of strategic and actions that are going to inform the process of engaging citizens in terms of what needs to be done in order to realize effective and confident way of relaying information for the citizens with regard to Extractives Baraza. In that process, we have also been effective in providing overall guidance and outcomes that are competitive to our ideas. In terms of Extractives Baraza, there are also other players in the sector. Our main attempt has been to look at what are some of the barriers in Extractives Baraza. How can we make Extractives Baraza more competitive in terms of other institutions that aim to provide similar information that are of key interest to us. In this brief presentation, I'd like to take you through what Extractives Baraza has been doing using three main issues. What, and now what? Basically, we're trying to do what was the idea behind Extractives Baraza. Once we have established the challenge, what are the solutions way forward in terms of the gaps that Extractives Baraza tried to provide? And once we have been able to do that, we will not be successful unless and until we have been able to provide benefits for what we have been doing over the last 1 or so years. In terms of challenges, where action have been informed by limited access to information. And that was one of the key issues or gaps that informed the creation of Extractives Baraza. There is a lot of information about Extractives Baraza. They are not consolidated in a systematic and reliable way that citizens can access. The information dissemination was also not consolidated, both from government entities and international oil and gas companies and also mining companies. Therefore, the information was not centralized in a way that users can access information from one central portal. And Extractives Baraza was guided by this gap in information needs that motivated the creation of Extractives Baraza. And that was one of the key aspects or gaps that informed Extractives Baraza. Over the last 1 year, we have made tremendous improvement and engagement with stakeholders to inform different stakeholders what Extractives Baraza is all about, both communities, civil society, companies, investors, and government, why we want to do things the way we want to do in a credible and reliable way. We have managed to engage multi-sector advocacy neutral public forums in different instances where we thought there was a need to engage the public. Therefore, the creation or launch of Extractives Baraza was unparalleled in Kenya. It did not exist in East Africa region. Therefore, we need to laud Extractives Baraza for the achievements made so far. Our achievements are basically focused around three main areas. Around local content development in terms of international oil companies or mining companies what are some of the key issues or benefits that the local community should expect from what is done in Extractives Baraza. The other aspect, which is also enshrined in our constitution, is public participation. How do we engage public in the issues around Extractives Baraza? The main idea behind public participation was some of the key risks issues around Extractives Baraza in terms of resource scarce issues, that regions or countries that have discovered extractive resources, those resources have turned out to be a curse as opposed to blessing. One way that we can undermine that option is to engage the public in a forum that will play equal role in informing information and allow benefits flows in a consensus manner. And the third aspect has been the issues around transparency and accountability. The moment, for example, that Salo discovered oil in Turkana, one of the perceptions was it appeared as if the oil will flow the following day and revenue will start flowing to Turkana and the country immediately. That's not the position. Therefore, there's lag in revenue generation, and therefore the public need to know the issues around revenue and the process that leads to revenue creation in the extractive sector. So those are the areas that we have been engaged in and provide a solution through different forums. And now in terms of now what, the benefit option, Extractives Baraza has three main activity tracker, as we call it, and also key stream areas: inform, connect, and transform. Issues in terms of inform, which is one of the key activity trackers under extractive sector, we have been able to realize over 200% increase in the traffic flows in the website by the users during the first and fourth quarter of last year. That shows a tremendous improvement and engagement of the Extractives Baraza with stakeholders. The second component of Extractives Baraza, which is one of the key core values, is to connect. Connect has different meaning when you talk about internet and connectivity today. People could be in the same location, but they do not be engaged because of internet connection. Two persons, you see, engaged in internet are distanced when it comes to connection. One is talking to a friend or relative in the US through internet, and another is talking to someone in Canada. Therefore, connectivity in that sense raises issues, and we are so much aware through Extractives Baraza these issues exist. Therefore, through connection, through Connect, we have been able to engage extractive sector forum, quarterly fireside chats where we invite interested and like-minded players to engage us, Kenya local content with exchange in the counties, and what Dr. have described as raise challenge, and also engagement with energy for I, among other connection options. And finally, one of the things that we have been to do was to transform. Our transform activity has taken three main aspects. One is through sessions that have been organized. Two is through users that we have observed through website. And third one is web page view. All these have been tracked over the last 1 year, and we have seen tremendous increase in terms of transforming how these different categories of users engage extractive sector internet portal. Therefore, I can confidently say, in terms of Extractives Baraza achievement today, we have realized improved access and dissemination of information through the portal, formation of effective extractive policy working group that is coming for the next year, enhanced dialogue across different sector players, and local content exchanges with diverse key players in the extractive sector in Kenya. Now, setting the platform for today and moving forward, I can say that Extractives Baraza has made tremendous milestone, and more importantly, it is in future that our power lies. The future of Extractives Baraza depends on what we do in the present. In other words, every move we make, every action we take in the present is for us a stepping stone in shaping how the Extractives Baraza will look like. It is my sincere hope that the achievements so far made has been tremendous, and I think we need to move forward in terms of what and where the Extractives Baraza will be. And finally, in as far as the issues around Extractives Baraza are concerned, and also to speak into the participants today, the time to do things right is now, and therefore information, connection, and transforming citizens' participation and engagement in the governance of the Extractives Baraza in our country, within and without the outside the Extractives Baraza portal, I think is our key role moving forward. Thank you very much.
First and foremost, I take this opportunity to thank and congratulate Strathmore University, and in particular the Extractives Baraza, for hosting this annual conference and successfully hosting the moot court. I think we're just going to see what is happening, and I'm very glad to have Professor Joan here. I was a student of his more than 20 years ago, constitutional law, and I'm very glad he was my teacher. So I think he's going to help us right through on this particular issue. And I guess this competition has provided the competing teams with an opportunity to delve into the intricate issues that we're dealing with in the world of extractives, and in the process create an opportunity for them to understand the complex underlying issues, especially the legal issues. I was looking at the moot court question, and I was saying, thank God I'm not in school right now. But I think, when you have many people together, it creates a sense of, I think you're able to think and come up with something. So I'm really looking forward to see the simulation. So just quickly, I think Dr. Wario, when he was talking about the extractive industries, he picked out quite a number of issues, so I shall not belabor the points. So I'll just basically say that the promulgation of the Constitution of Kenya in 2020 ushered in a new political and constitutional dispensation, and then being a very progressive constitution, it has basically taken cognizance of the issue of the importance of the natural resources and made remarkable provisions, which I think we need to have very specific laws to ensure that we actualize these particular provisions. This has coincided with the commercial discovery at the Turkana County in the northern Kenya. The discoveries were positively received with the hope that the country will become secure, and which would in turn help us achieve our aspirations in our very nice elaborate blueprint, Vision 2030. This basically requires a good legal and regulatory framework and awareness creation, which I think the Extractives Baraza is doing a very good job on that. So there's a very strict timeline that the Constitution of Kenya has provided within which we need to enact this particular legislation in relation to the natural resources. So basically, the draft petroleum bill and the energy bill are currently pending in Parliament, so we hope they'll give them priority. We know the way Parliament operates, so we need to be able to push. So Dr. Wario, I'm sure that is one of the priorities from Treasury and also from the Office of the Attorney General. The bills have made elaborate provisions which aim at improving the lives of the people of Kenya, such as the local content, which Dr. Wario has spoken about, requirements of capacity building and transfer of knowledge, revenue sharing from oil sources, resources between the national and county governments. I'm sure that can be quite a thorny issue. When you're looking at the moot court competition, I think they concentrated a lot on the transboundary issues. I don't know whether you're looking at transboundary in terms of nations as transboundary. So they're all, you can look at it transboundary within the national borders and transboundary outside, internationally. So those are some of the things that we find very interesting. Other progressive provisions include the Sovereign Wealth Fund, I'm sure you're all aware of that, which would ensure that the revenue generated from the oil resources are secured in order to benefit the current and future generations. So basically progress is being made in the commercialization of these particular resources, which includes the construction of the crude oil pipeline from Lokichar to Lamu. And I'm sure there are quite a number of environmental concerns if you're talking about sustainable exploration of oil. And these are some of the things that the energy bill and the petroleum bill seek to address. And at the same time, if you're talking about the environment, there are certain issues that I think we need to ring fence
within the environmental laws to ensure that we do not have the issues, for instance, issues of spillage or, all those controversial issues for all of you who've been following oil exploration and extraction in different countries, and see how we can mitigate and reduce these particular risks. So, as I said, the exploration and exploitation of natural resources is not without its challenges, which could be at both national level or transboundary. And as I said, we've talked about the environmental concern. Expertise in the area in this particular area is quite limited, and I'm sure Strathmore, by virtue of the fact that they've introduced their master's program, will bear witness to that particular fact. So we need to increase the expertise, both legal, policy, so that we can be able to move forward. So there is need to create capacity and awareness in relation to the impact of oil and gas exploration on the environment, which will inform the formulation of laws or amendment of existing laws to ensure that exploitation is sustainable without an adverse impact on the environment. So quickly in the field of mining, the government through the Ministry of Mining has taken a step towards enacting the Mining Act with the aim of securing the mineral benefits for the people of Kenya. The government is aimed at reviewing royalties, fees, taxation for mining companies in order to align them with the requirement of the Constitution. I know basically the Extractives Baraza, the annual conference is focusing mainly on oil and gas. So that was just by the way, to make you know that we are not just concentrating on one area, there are other areas that the government is looking into. Despite these new developments, our country is yet to develop its capacity in order to fully develop the extractives industry, especially in the oil and gas sector, as this is basically seen as a new sector. This has attracted collaborative partners such as the World Bank, and I think like right now within the Office of the Attorney General and the Ministry of Energy, there's the Kenya Petroleum Technical Assistance Program, better known as KEPTAP, which is basically aimed at building capacity, and it's basically over a period of time. It ends in 2022. The participants of the Extractives Baraza Court will agree with me that these are challenges that are real and require clear policies, effective laws, and dynamic institutions to address them at all levels. In order for the extractive industry to be well managed, the government and other stakeholders need to encourage the actors to be trained in order to gain the requisite skills, and this competition, as well as the LLM and the Extractive Baraza, we believe will go a long way in creating this capacity. The Office of the Attorney General is glad that the Strathmore University has taken a broad step towards building capacity in the extractives industry. The Extractives Baraza, as described by Dr. Suna and Dr. Wario, you can see I was editing this thing when I was sitting here, earlier on, provides a dynamic forum for discussion and facilitation of the growth of the industry. Other institutions of higher learning are encouraged to follow suit through collaboration with international institutions which have the requisite capacity. It is our hope that the objectives of this event, namely the creation of awareness on impact of the oil and gas exploration on the environment and the transboundary oil and gas reserves, and highlighting the complex and yet important nature of the gas and oil industry have been achieved. With those very few remarks, on behalf of the Attorney General, I declare the Kenya Annual Extractive